Right now in your company or on your team, you have someone that drives you nuts. It's like they wake up in the morning thinking, what can I do today to frustrate and piss the people off that I work with? They talk behind people's backs, they spread rumors, and they come up with every possible reason why ideas won't work, but they never seem to come up with the solutions for any problems. Listen, I know it would be great for me to be able to say, there's companies out there without these people, don't give up, but that would be a total lie. I've been working since I was 15 years old, and I can promise you, no matter what company you go to throughout your career, these people are going to be around. So if you're going to find them no matter where you go, you had better figure out how to work with them so you can not only get your job done, but you can actually progress in your career, right? Hey there, it's Jay Timms. I'm an organizational psychologist and a leadership expert. I've consulted for Fortune 500 companies, and I've guided thousands of executives and leaders in multiple organizations to help them create an environment of engagement and crazy profitability in their workplace for the last 35 years. In this video today, I'm going to share with you 5 techniques that are kind of outside the box to help you learn how to deal with toxic people and situations, both inside the workplace and in your personal life. These techniques are based on neuroscience and have helped me in my various leadership roles and the leaders that I've developed over the years turn some of these so-called toxic people into some of the most valuable employees that they've ever had. So if this is the kind of video that you're looking for and you think it's going to help you, just comment, I'm ready, or something like that, and then like this video so I know that I need to make more videos just like this. Let's get into it. Here's something that science tells us about the makeup of organizations. Generally speaking, what you're going to find is that in every organization, there are about 10 to 15% of the people who wake up in the morning and they are excited about going into work. They're driven, they want to support other people, they want to see the company grow, and they want to help others grow. And my bet is that you know exactly who those people are. Conversely, there are about 15 to 20% of the population out there who wake up in the morning and they're just mad. I mean, that's the only way to put it. They just wake up and they're frustrated. They feel like the world owes them something. They don't care how they're going to accomplish their goals or who they're going to hurt. They're just going to accomplish their goals. And then there's another population, and that population sits right down here. That population is a group of people who wake up in the morning and let life happen to them. They don't decide how they're going to interact with you until they figured out how the world is going to treat them that day. So the first technique is what I call the Zig Ziglar method modified. Zig Ziglar was a leadership guide, a leadership guru, and really started out as a salesperson. And he grew into this amazing phenomenon before he passed away. A woman came to him after a seminar or a workshop that he did and said, Zig, I've got a really, really difficult work environment. I don't like the people. They don't pay very well. It's a really tough environment. Nobody listens to me, and nobody really takes what I have and implements it. And Zig said to her, okay, great. What do you love about your work environment? And she said, nothing. I don't even like it. Why would I love something? And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back and I want you to write down things you like about your environment. And again, she protested and said, I don't like anything. He said, do you like getting paid? She said, well, of course. He goes, fine, write that down. You like getting paid. What are some other things that you enjoy? And then he said, once you have that list, I want you to, every day before you go to work, stand in front of a mirror and I want you to read it out. And I want you to start by saying, I love my job because, and then read the line. And then say, I love my job because, and then read the next line. She said, why would I do that? He said, I'm not going to teach you anything until you do that. About 2 months later, she came back to him and she came up to him afterwards and he said, how's work? Are you still struggling? She goes, no, actually, everybody in the entire team has changed. Everybody has stepped up and they really are engaging with me. And I actually really enjoy my workplace now. I want you to do something. I want you to make a list of this person, of all the characteristics of this person that are actually really cool. Now, don't be fake. Spend some time and really think about it. Then begin to publicly notice when they do good things. Highlight their minor positive contributions to others, even if it's minor. Build a positive narrative around them that makes them feel that they have to live up to it. thank them publicly for even just the most basic professional courtesies. Again, don't be fake, be intentional. What this does is it creates positive reputation pressure. It forces people to have to live up to the persona that you've created, and they feel internal pressure anytime that they don't meet that expectation. Technique number 2 is called the confusion and clarification loop. You want to confuse people. A lot of times what happens is that when people come to you and give you criticisms, it's really, really broad, and they say things like, this always happens, or this never happens. Don't let them get away with that. Respond to vague criticism with detailed questions. Ask for specific examples of every complaint. You can even request written clarification of verbal comments. So write that down specifically. What did you mean by that? Or use phrases like, help me to understand this exactly. You can even create flow charts of their concerns. So technique number 3 is called the emotional vampire roadmap. This kind of flips the responsibility back on you as to why they're acting this way. And just bear with me here and just hear me out. You'll understand what I'm saying. Behavior doesn't happen just because, generally speaking. There is always some sort of precipitating event or something leading up to behavior. So if you have an individual who has this toxic behavior or this negative behavior, it might just be that they're not part of that 20% that just wake up pissed off in the world. They just have learned that to be able to protect themselves, to gain control, or to make them feel safe, they have to have aggressive behaviors. So one of the ways that you can do this as a leader is track behaviors and try to understand if there's patterns. I am a massive fan of Post-it notes. And so what I have done on certain occasions is I've created a physical map of when that individual has a negative behavior. And then I put a sticky note next to it. And I do this for a period of time. And you can create a physical map or a physical calendar, or you can do an online calendar. And as you track it, you may be able to start to see patterns of difficult behaviors. Maybe it's an environmental trigger, like it's too hot in the office or they've been sitting too long. You need to strategically disrupt patterns by changing the physical layouts. Sometimes you even need to rearrange schedules to break the negative cycles. I shared this with another one of my clients, and we were talking about it afterwards, and this was their response. They said, we discovered that our most difficult team member was particularly toxic after long meetings in the windowless rooms. We moved team discussions to the mornings, and we added walking meetings, and we saw an 80% reduction in negative behaviors. Technique number 4 is called the pattern breaker. I learned this years ago when I was doing my first master's degree in counseling psychology. I was working with a couple, and they had this narrative about their fights and their negative conversations, and they knew exactly what was going to happen. So first the man did this, the woman did this second, then this was brought up, and they could literally map out every single negative conversation because it was always the same. So I said to them, next time you get into a fight, I want one of you to stand up on the kitchen table and cluck like a chicken. And they're like, why on earth would we do that? And I said, because it's different. It's going to break the pattern. Sometimes when you have this toxic person or the emotional vampire who starts going into one of their rants, they know how it's going to end because they've experienced this multiple times. Your job is to interrupt that and break that pattern. So, some of the ways that you can do that is you can respond to the complaints with enthusiasm, like that's a great idea, fantastic. This is an opportunity for us to create a brainstorming session around this. When your emotional vampire begins their usual rant, you can even respond by saying something like, this is fantastic. You've just identified our next improvement opportunity. Their confusion completely disrupts their negative pattern. Technique number 5 is called the responsibility overload method. Now, you have to be careful with this one for a couple of reasons. Number 1 is that you do not necessarily want to put them into a position where they have responsibility over people. Often their negativity is going to rub off, especially if their direct reports are part of that group of people who get influenced by what's going on around them. So be careful with that. The second reason that you have to be careful is that because you never, ever want to put someone into a position where you are intentionally creating burnout. That's not fair. What you want to do is to give them responsibility over tasks. Put them into a position where they have complete control over something in the organization. What that forces them to do is to not have others who they can blame, and they have to step into a place where they have to come up with solutions. Give them visible tasks, be there to offer your support, but let them drive the results. If you've stuck around to this point in the video, congratulations. You're ahead of probably 90% of the people in this world. You know, there are so many people out there who say that they want help, but they aren't willing to actually put in the work to make the changes. So good for you. You know, because I know you actually want to do something with your skills as a leader, let me share something else with you that the other people won't see. Did you know that 3 out of every 5 leaders fail so significantly within the first 3 years of their roles that they never really grow past a frontline or low-level leader within their company? It's an unfortunate but real statistic. The reason leaders can't progress, it's actually pretty simple. It's because they haven't been given opportunities to grow their skills and don't get proper guidance on what they can do to become more effective in their roles. When I was starting as a leader, this was my reality. It was so frustrating because I knew that I could have major impact on my team and the company, but it always felt like I was trying to climb a greased ladder. You know, every step that I tried to take, it got me nowhere. I relied on those old, outdated training modules at my company, and I believed that they would help me to become a better leader, but nothing ever worked. Eventually, something clicked, and I went from being an underpaid frontline manager to guiding and building leaders for Fortune 500 companies. All I did was learn one simple thing. I figured out a few key principles about psychology and neuroscience, and I applied those into my daily work. It made my career grow with lasting impact, and frankly, it made my bank account explode. I spend a lot of time predicting and preparing leaders for the future of business, and one of the things that is so abundantly clear right now is that companies are struggling to find skilled leaders. You know, COVID shifted things significantly, and companies are just not spending the time and the resources needed to develop their leaders effectively. This is leading to a massive chasm in companies, and people who have the skills to be leaders of influence are becoming an invaluable resource that companies are willing to pay stupid amounts of money for. This could be you that they're scrambling to get. If this isn't you, there is a good chance that your company is going to be hiring around you to fill those voids. I'm aware that this sounds like a sales pitch, but that's not my intention. I want so badly for you to have these skills because I spent too long at the bottom of the ladder and it sucked. And I just don't want that for you. I'm looking for 5 people who I can train and transform into leaders of influence in their organizations. I've been building leaders for over 30 years, and everything that I've used has been put into the boardroom. It's a community and a program that includes the training, the templates, and the neuroscience-based frameworks that I've used to develop over 1,000 leaders who right now are the best in their industries. Spend 15 minutes a day working on this. And within 90 days, you will be able to lead at the level that you would never have felt possible before. Right now, you've got 2 options. Do nothing, be a mediocre leader or an employee, or click the link below and invest in yourself. You can get started with the Boardroom Program for just $100, less than you'd spend taking your family out for dinner. The choice is yours. If you're committed to boosting your career and becoming a leader of impact, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'll keep posting videos like this that you won't find anywhere else to help you in your leadership journey. Also, let's stay connected. Follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. The links are in the description. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next video.